bullet. 3, 2, 1. Sweet home Alabama, dun, 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 where the skies are so blue. Sweet home Alabama, dun, 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 dun. Lord, I'm coming home to you.
Lord, I'm coming home.
Happy episode 5, everybody! Clap it up, clap it up.
Welcome back.
Woo! Very special guest in the house tonight, Appio. I think it's only right if you introduce him.
Well, welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tony Fragaletti himself.
Thanks, guys.
Happy to have you on, Pops.
Wow.
Nobody does it better than him. So, I mean, we're real happy to have you on. I'm real happy to have you on. It's nice to see. I know this is your first time in the office.
Yep.
First time getting up here. I've been wanting you to come by. I know we picked me up the other night. We were going to stop upstairs, but it was 11 o'clock at night, and we decided not to come up. But glad to have you here. Thanks for coming.
It's a joy to be here. Quite a place.
Hope you're proud.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud of all you guys, actually.
Appreciate that.
Thank
But
you
we
very
brought him
much.
on for a very specific reason. I'm just going to refer to you as Tony. Hope you're all right with that, Pops.
It's my name.
So, you know, we brought Tony on here because, well, he's a local successful business owner. He's been in his industry for almost 40 years now. I mean, I'll let you dive into it, but I've
Did you
always
say
been
4 years?
40,
Okay.
40,
40,
40,
Almost 40.
almost 40 years in
yeah.
the industry. And I think it's going to be a really, really good podcast here. We're going to break into what a lot of people like to talk about nowadays, which happens to be real estate. Fix and flips, rentals, construction. We're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of it because this man himself has flipped a lot of properties, to say the least, has had a lot of long-term rentals, still has a bunch of them now. We're going to touch a lot of good topics. I mean, so let's start off. I mean, where did you first get into the business versus where you are now? I mean, talk about it a little bit.
So, my grandfather and my father both had their own businesses. They were in paint contracting. So, growing up as a kid, 10 years old, I'd be sweeping floors, holidays, weekends, during the summer when you're off of school. That's how I grew up. I grew up, helping my dad out.
It always starts with sweeping the floors. If you can't sweep
You
a
have-
floor, I will never hire you.
No, you
got to
have-
learn how to sweep
You
a
have
floor
to
proper.
master the floor
You do.
before you
Yeah,
move on.
Then you get upgrades.
It's like
that.
crawling before you walk.
hmm
So yeah, that was my gig, and so I remember the first paycheck I got from my father too. I actually cried. I think it was
like 4 years later after you first.
I cried, and he's like, "Well, you got to work hard. You got to work hard." I said, "Okay, all right." And he always
You cried because it was so low?
I cried because it was so low.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. I thought you were,
Oh, wow. I thought you were just happy.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
she's
no,
enjoying
no,
it.
no. I guess
I made my first dollar, and then that was
no.
it.
I was expecting a lot more.
Fair enough.
And
Got to prove your worth.
yeah,
That's what
and
Pops
and
wanted.
he made sure of that he never gave me anything. He made me work for it, and I didn't like it back then. Didn't like it for a long time, but I appreciate it now. And I have appreciated it for a long time. I have appreciated it for a long time, but growing up I didn't. And so, long story short, as I grew up, my father used to work in Kings Point and Great Neck and on these high-end homes, doing painting and for clients and also for builders. So there was this one particular builder, custom builder, that we did a lot of work for, and he took a liking to me. He actually wanted me on his job sites.
Wow.
He requested me to be on the job sites. I hustled all the time. It was just in my blood. I love to work, and I love to outwork people. I like to set the tone.
It's a good trait.
And that's how I grew up, and that's what I did. And because of that, he requested me all the time. And when I graduated high school, I was going to go to college to be an architect on a half scholarship for football. Blew my knee out. Blah 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 blah. Long story
He
short,
was going to go pro.
He was
No.
He was
on the way.
going pro.
no, wasn't going pro. Had a friend who went pro. Giants.
Hey.
Oh,
No,
Jumbo
he was a
Elliott.
Jumbo.
Jumbo Elliott.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I
Heard
was,
a lot
I
of
was
stories.
in Jumbo. I was
Where
in
did you go to high school?
Sachem High School.
Oh, Sachem.
okay.
Okay.
I was in Jumbo's living room when he got drafted.
No
when Bill
Wow.
Parcells called up.
No
Oh, yeah.
way.
His mother answers the phone. Johnny, Bill Parcells is on the phone. Come talk to Bill Parcells. So he gets up, 6'8". It was a nice day. Anyway, so I continued to work for my father after high school for a short period of time, and this builder scooped me up and wanted me to work for him. So
Wow, he poached you from your own father.
he did.
Wow.
He did. And I was kind of happy to do it because at, so many years since, I don't know, 8, 10
Yeah.
years old,
Working for your father's
it's not easy.
it's not easy to say the
It's
least.
not easy.
I
So
remember doing it.
First-hand
I started working
First-hand
for a
experience.
custom builder in Kings Point, and that was my start in construction. And the first house we did back then in 1983 was a $6 million house
Wow.
in Kings Point. Imagine that back then. The detail
Yeah,
was
the house is
crazy.
20 million
I
now.
learned so
More.
much in the 2 years I worked for him. And so we moved on to the next house, and we started that house, and I asked him for a raise.
On the second house.
It was after 2 years.
Oh, okay. That was 2 years. Okay.
I was
got
2
you.
years into it.
Fair enough.
And I was the young guy, but I was really like one of the main guys there that they taught, and relied on. So I remember asking him for the raise, and he says, Tony, he says, I would really love to give you a raise. I said, well, I did get a really good offer in Suffolk County. It's a lot less traveling for me, a lot easier. I really want to work for you. He says, but this is a great opportunity. He says, well, Tony, I don't want to hold you back. Meanwhile, I didn't have an offer.
Play hardball.
I didn't have an offer, and
Somebody else says that they can get me $2 million, and I don't even have to pay it back.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Whatever you say, Tony.
so I was caught without a job there. And my dad scooped me up, and he helped me out, and he got me little handyman jobs, and that's how I began working for myself. I wasn't a legal business yet, but I was working for myself, and finally, after maybe a year of doing little handyman jobs in Kings Point and Great Neck, I moved on to Suffolk County, and I put an ad in the Penny Saver. I don't know if the Penny Saver is still around or
I
not.
don't actually know if it is, but I know.
Okay,
it is.
so
I
the
think
Penny,
it's still
Not strong.
around.
God,
Penny
it's
Saver.
around.
Penny Saver was a big thing back then, and so I put an ad in the Penny Saver, and I was getting jobs, and I grew, and I started growing fast, and I got a helper, and I got 2 helpers, and before you knew it, I was 5 years into business, and I had more work than I could even handle. Worked a lot of hours. I took advantage. I took advantage of every day. There's so many hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
And there's only so many hours in a year.
Not enough.
So I figured, simplicity. I'm gonna work these extra hours. I want to get ahead by the end of the year. I want to have 3 extra months in a year by putting all these hours in, and then who knows what happens in 20, 30, 40 years. That was my mentality, and my business grew. I took on a partner back then. We had 2 big crews, and we made investments, and we failed, and we did jobs that we didn't get paid on sometimes. That hurt, and it's the struggles of business, right? Yeah. Every business has their own struggles. That was our struggle, but we stuck with it. Partners, we split, went on our own, and I just continued to keep steady and invest my money really in real estate. For me was the key, because I was in construction,
Makes it easy.
and real estate ties in with construction.
Yep.
So a lot of the money that I made went into real estate, buying houses and keeping them as rentals. And I remember the first thing, my first house, I was in Medford, and we bought the crappiest house on the block, but it was a nice block. It was in a cul-de-sac, private, no one behind us, and my wife cried. She said, "Oh, kid, I don't want to live in this house." Don't worry, we're gonna fix it up. We're gonna fix it up. So we did. It was the nicest house by the time we were done, and so I took out a home equity line of credit, and I used that. I was going to use that credit to put on a new master bedroom suite with a bathroom because my family was growing now. We were having more kids, but I didn't use the money for that. I'm driving down the road one day, and
This
and I
truck.
and
oh
I
my
and I
God.
see a sign on the side of the road, house for sale, 3 acres. Like, wow, 3 acres, that's a lot. I could use some land because I needed to park vehicles and trailers and put equipment. I couldn't keep it at the house anymore, you know. So I actually was looking for a property. So I told my worker that was in my van, I says, get out. He goes, what? Get out. Get that sign, rip it out. Put it in the truck. He goes, I can't do that. I said, if you don't do it, you're fired. He said, okay, I'll do it. Grabs the sign, throws it in the back of the truck. I take off because I don't want anyone seeing this sign. I want to buy this
yours now.
place.
Is this the shop?
This is in Farmingville.
Wow.
So I bought that property.
A staple.
I
A
bought that
staple.
property. It was 3 acres with a house on it for $172,000.
Wow.
$172,000.
How much do you think that's worth now? If it went up just like that.
Well, I did a land division. I built 2 brand new houses and sold them. I kept the existing house on the acre, still on an acre, on a corner, on a main corner. Still have it to this day. But the moral of the story was I used money that I was supposed to use for my house to build an extension for my family,
Yeah.
and I ended up buying this house. Of course,
Sometimes that's what business takes.
you know,
Making
and
a move
so
like that, spontaneous move.
sacrifice. So
Sacrifice.
sacrifice is big. You have to sacrifice in business and in life. If you don't sacrifice, you will never grow. You will never succeed. Sacrifice. So I made a lot of sacrifices, you know, over the years with my family and my business. So, you know, that's how I rolled. And I put a lot of pressure on my wife over the years doing that. I did the same thing over and over again. I bought a big house in Rocky Point, knocked it down, built the thing, made it a beautiful rental. And I could just go on and on and on with a lot of different properties. I have, a lot of investment properties. I still have. I sold some. But that, for me, is what helped me. Because, you know, when you make money, right, you have a pile of cash or you have money in the bank, it's easy to spend that on junk.
Yeah.
I took it immediately, and I dumped it into what I knew was going to grow, and that was real estate. Yeah. I remember working as a kid for Cheap Sam's Nursery on the service road of the Expressway, and this old man Ed, he was a crazy guy, but he was a smart guy, and he says, "Hey, Junior," and he used to dress like you thought he was a bum, but the guy was a multimillionaire.
Wow.
He owned over 100 properties, 100 houses. So he pulls me to the side, Junior, you never get hurt buying dirt. What'd you say? You never get hurt buying dirt. Never get hurt buying dirt. You never get hurt buying dirt. And I always remembered that. 14 years old, you never get hurt buying dirt. They only make so much dirt on this earth, right?
Yeah.
So I always thought about that, and I was buying land, and I would put up a house and I'd sell it. You know, that was part of my thing. I'd do a lot of home improvements, which was the staple really to keep me going. But doing my own investments is where I grew. But I have to say, I wish I was more educated back then than I am now. Like what you guys do, it's so important for business. And for me, I feel if I had a mentor to teach me about finance,
Yeah.
lines of credit,
Yeah. I mean,
and
you
what
need
it-
money to make money.
and what it can do for you. You know, a lot of people think, oh, well, if I take out a loan, I got to pay it back. I'm going to owe all of this money.
Yep.
Well, you know what? It's part of business. You need money to make money, right? You just need it for a lot of reasons, depending on what business you're in. And that's why I love what you guys do, and I love the way you advertise it. I love the way we talk about it, because a lot of small business owners, this is crucial. You need to go to a place like Lexington Capital where you're dealing with professionals, right? Yeah, you can go out and look for it yourself, but these guys, this is all they do, 24/7,
Yeah.
right? You have making all these different relationships with probably hundreds of different lenders.
Hundreds of lenders, banks,
Yep.
people
Credit
you never even heard
unions.
of.
Never heard of.
That could
Small mom and
extremely
pops
help
to
you
big-
out.
right.
Deal with your niche specifically.
Yep.
We all have a different niche, and not everyone deals with your problems. You know what I mean?
And we hear hundreds of stories every week similar to this about
Yeah.
people's situations and what their needs are, what
Yeah.
their pain might be, what their goal is, where they want to be.
Yeah.
And we map out game plans for almost all of our clients on
Yeah. It's
pretty much
crucial.
step by
It's
step.
crucial when you're in business, and I wish I had that knowledge and someone to teach me that back then. But I know it now, and it's never late. It's never too late. So businesses first starting out, businesses that are 5 years old, businesses that are 20 years old or 40 years old, it doesn't matter, Everyone needs capital.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And depending on what your business is and how you want to use it. But it is crucial because you can't grow without it. You just can't.
100%.
It's an accelerant.
100%.
And you never
Ironically-
know when like an extra job just might come about, and you just might not have the capital to get it done. And that's the job that's gonna get you from here to there to that next level in your business, and the capital's holding you back. That's
Yeah.
what we run into a lot. It's
Yeah.
guys looking to expand, and or we deal with a lot of startups too. People just looking
Yeah.
to get off the ground. But
Yeah.
those are probably like the two types of niches that we're dealing with. And no bank is really trying to give them any capital to grow because they're not showing the financials to show that they can afford to do and take on this kind of job. Right? They
Right.
don't have the employees, they don't have the manpower, and they don't have the background, and they've never really done it before, right? But Lexington, we have lenders on our platform that know how to deal with it and that have done it before and are okay with dealing with first-time investors,
Yeah.
which not a lot of people are.
And
What?
like,
Give me an example of like what businesses you guys deal with that call in that they're looking for.
so like I
funding.
was gonna say, even today, ironically, which I loved your story and the way that you told it, is because one of my favorite partners, Brent, shout out to Brent.
Brother
Um,
Brent.
Brother
Brent.
Brent.
Brental.
Brental.
He sent me over one of his clients, and I was talking to him. He's in construction. If I'm not mistaken, he was in New Jersey, and he was talking about how he wants to get all his equipment so he could, elevate his business, and he wanted $100,000. Now, the way his business was structured, he had good revenue. He had okay credit. Everything was looking all right. And I started talking to him about what exactly he wants to do and how he wants to structure the future of his business. And that's when we started talking into steps and strides and how businesses that are successful grow in steps. Every little step will amount to something else. So, you get a smaller form of finance, and then you buy a piece of equipment and boost your revenue here.
Yep.
And then you go and you expand in this direction. Now you're making double the money. And then you put on more guys to do more jobs. Now you're making more money. Then you get more equipment. And like you said, before you know it, you're making a bunch of money with a bunch of equipment that you now have to buy a property to put it on.
Right, and when you're in business, you need the right tools to do the right job, right?
Absolutely.
No matter what
Correct.
business it is,
Correct.
and you need money for those tools. Most
Equipment's
people-
expensive.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah, it
everything that
is.
you use. I mean, I'm not in the field, but like, what are some big heavy machinery things that you might own? Do you
Yeah.
have anything like that, like a Bobcat or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I have a Bobcat. I have probably 8 different attachments with Bobcats that, that probably cost $50,000 just in attachments.
Wow, yeah.
If not more. And then at the time, the Bobcat was $50,000 when I bought it, and then the trailer to trailer it, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's
Got the job trailers,
you
got
know,
multiple
that's-
dump
that's
trailers.
a perfect example, right? So I used to rent the Bobcats all the time.
Okay. Wow, that is a perfect
Yeah, that is
example.
great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are renting their
used to
trucks
rent
all
them
the time.
I found myself renting these machines so often. I'm like, why am I throwing my money away?
Yeah.
Why don't I buy it? Why don't I buy one?
Yeah.
Just makes the money back.
It's just I buy it, and it opens up a whole new world of work that you're able to do.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not relying on anybody else. It's yours. You wake up. It's in your warehouse. Your guys pick it up at the beginning of the day. You dictate how your jobs want to go. And like I've we've gotten scissor lifts and stuff like that before, calling places up during
Yeah.
COVID, asking for, different things, and they're like, nope, don't have it out. Imagine that you had a job that day, you had to get it done, and you don't have your Bobcat to get it done.
Right.
God forbid something goes wrong, now you're held liable for someone else's equipment rather than just fixing it on your own accord.
That too is that you got to treat it with extra love because it's not yours.
And time. It takes time to go,
Pick it up.
pick it up, drop it off. Time is money.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
costs more.
What you
money than
eventually
time.
save is worth the upfront investment or getting the financing, in my opinion, to get it done.
Right.
So
So, I actually did. I did financing through Bobcat, right? That was one of the things I did
I hope they
back.
got cheap rates.
I don't know what their rates are.
Fair enough.
This was many years ago. I bought that machine. I still have it, but again, capital is king. You just need money to make money, make the right moves.
I was talking to this trucker the other day, back to going in steps and strides.
Yeah.
He's this guy. He wanted to buy 3 pieces of equipment. He wanted to buy tarps so he can take on loads when the weather's bad.
Right.
He wanted to buy a. This might be wrong, but I really feel like it's right. A wiener hitch. A wiener hitch.
I'm not
Oh.
familiar.
He wanted to buy a wiener hitch, and he wanted to buy one other thing for his trucks. And he was telling me, if I get
that's a good one.
the tarps, I can make an extra X amount of dollars. If I get the wiener hitch, I can make another X amount of dollars because I can take on different loads. And if I get this, I can make I have another stream of revenue because I can take on 3 different types of loads now.
Yeah.
And he's telling me this is all going to cost $50,000, just to throw the number out there. But he wasn't approved for $50,000. We couldn't get him approved for $50,000. We had a pre-approval of around $30,000. 25, 30,000 if I remember. And he was telling me that he won't take the 25 or 30 because it's not going to get him all 3. I mean, I was telling him this doesn't make any sense. The exact way that you described to me, you can make more money if you just get this alone, and you can make more money if you just get this alone, or the other one this alone. He wouldn't take the 25 to purchase just his tarps and his wiener hitch because it couldn't get him that third option, even though all 3, you don't need one to have the other.
Make the other.
Yeah,
right.
with the
You
money-
don't.
with the
But you
money
can
you'll
still
make from
take
those,
on other
right.
loads.
He could have taken baby
5
steps.
wiener hitches.
Could have taken baby
Got
steps,
that little
and
financing that he
But
could
that's
get
why we're also
to
here
make
to
it.
educate business
Yeah.
owners too, because like they don't realize. I mean, business owners do all crazy things, as you guys know. They put money in their personal bank accounts. They have multiple bank accounts coming in and out, right? They have a lot of Venmo, Zelle, maybe cash payments coming in and out. So it's up to us to educate them, to let them know that, hey, listen, like if you were to get the wiener hits, that would have added an extra 10% of top end revenue coming, in the first month, and then we could have came back to the lender and then asked for another, 20, which I'm sure Appio explained all this to the guy, another 20,000. We could then come back because they know that the ROI was there and that we made good on the money, right? Maybe he even paid down the loan a little quicker, and then they were then willing to give him another 20, 25,000. Sometimes you just have to get your foot in the door with these lenders or banks.
A lot of it's about building
and
relationships.
just pay to play, right? Some of our guys, they'll get approved for a line of credit. They don't necessarily need the money right away, but we tell them draw at least $1,000 on it. Show the lender you're willing to use the money, pay it back, right? And they're going to be willing to give you a bigger line in the future.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of the more rewarding things about this company specifically. We take the time to do that. We will take even if you were completely declined out, right? We will take the time to talk to you and consult you to do what you need to do to be where you need to be. And I think that's a great thing. A lot of when we're on the phone with clients, they'll tell me, "Hey, I got declined from X, Y, and Z." They never told me why. I don't know what's going on. And these lenders, these brokers, they leave these people in the dark, and they have no idea how to better themselves. So I think it's very important that we take the time to consult and talk to these business owners.
To every client.
Yeah.
The information is not as out there as you really think. Like you have to dig and you have to find and you have to just go out of your way to really like get yourself educated. I mean, I say to the guys all the time with Mr. Fragliletti, if you were to like Google business financing or like small line of credit or anything like that, you're going to see hundreds upon hundreds of lenders, banks pop up. Like it's overwhelming. And for like a guy like you're like a general contractor, right? In our industry, that's actually it's tough to fund. You guys are actually known as a what's the word I'm looking for? A higher risk industry.
Oh, really?
For a multitude of reasons. I think the biggest reason is that they think a lot of general contractors sub out work. So they're scared of like receivables getting backed up and not getting paid and stuff like that. I think that's their biggest beef, you could say, with the general contractors. But even for the general contractors, say you were to apply with 2 or 3 places, you didn't even know they didn't even do contracting in general. credit gets ran three separate times, and you go from a 750 down to like a 700, then you finally find a place like us, like Lexington, but now our options are a little limited, maybe because we drop below that 700 or higher credit score. So that's why I always say work with a good marketplace or a good broker, quote unquote, who knows exactly what they're doing, and they'll take you to the best option, and it's going to save you time. It's going to save you money at the end of the day. Whatever small premium the broker might get, I promise it's going to get saved in time and money.
It's
Oh,
like
it's always worth it.
It's like looking for a house with no experience without a broker.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that experienced broker is always going to find you the best option.
Yeah.
If
And
they're
what
good.
you want.
Yeah.
What you're looking for.
And it's the
you know,
same thing with
You
the
could try
mortgages.
Zillow.
There's so many mortgage lenders, like people that you've never even heard before. Like it's not just your Chase banks, your Celtics banks, your U.S. Bank, right? Your credit unions. There's all these lenders, alternative lenders, even in the mortgage industry as well. It's so overwhelming. I mean, like who do you apply with? I don't know. I'd rather go to a good mortgage broker who could take me to the right place, get my credit ran once, get me approved right off the bat because he's the expert. That's what I want.
I
Absolutely.
was talking to my buddy Derek at Coltrane. You know Derek. I was talking to him over at Coltrane this morning, and he locked somebody in at a 6.625 mortgage rate this morning.
Impressive.
Or no, 6.235. 6.625. But we dropped below the sevens.
Yeah, it's pretty good. For
And
right now.
he was really happy about that. He went out of his way and he shot me a text message
Yeah.
just to say that. And you know, we were going to talk a little bit about DSQR loans and non-QM loans here for people who might be looking for mortgages. You might not be paying yourself on the books and whatnot. Definitely have some segments to get into. But he probably had to shop around a little bit with a couple of different banks or lenders to get that mortgage. I'm sure the first lender that he went to didn't give him that 6.625.
Right.
But rates are dropping. I mean, then that's also a great sign to see for the market. You know, house prices, they might continue to go up. They're always going to go up because of appreciation. But
as long
a
as
lot of
rates go down.
buyers, hopefully, are going to get back into the market, or maybe hopefully not.
I'd say hopefully
However you
not.
look
Less
at it.
competition, the better. Is
Yeah.
what I say.
Yeah.
I think the rates being high wasn't really a bad thing for investors.
Yeah, a lot of cash buyers. No, it's not
Yeah.
bad for the cash buyers at all.
Yeah. It's rough for the people who are starting a family and they're trying to own a home and
Looking for
they got a
Yeah.
7% rate. It's rough. It's tough times out here. I mean, to be an average person, the average like medium income in Long Island for one person is like between like 60 and like 80K, right? And that's not even really cutting it. I mean, if you get a mortgage right now at
Nowadays,
6-7%, $500,000-$700,000 house, you're sitting between like $300 and like $4,500.
Yeah.
You guys do the math. I mean, if you make 60 grand, you're barely even like cutting your mortgage. So I think it's more prevalent than ever to you have to be successful, like not just in life, you know, in your job. You have to genuinely try. You can't be average anymore and be successful, have that white picket fence and live that American dream, in my opinion, especially if you're going to live in a place like Long Island where it's very, very, very expensive. You got to go out of your way. You got to go to college, become a lawyer, become a doctor, a high like earning wage job, or I think sales is your next best bet. Or obviously, if you got the drive to be an entrepreneur, you know, the sky's the limit as an entrepreneur. But the sales aspect as well, we always say there's no peak with sales, right? We have people here who make more money than doctors and they don't even have a college degree, right? It's all about you. You look yourself in the mirror every day and you tell yourself how much money you want to make. You can't blame it on Appio, Tom, Grizzly, myself, Lexington. You can't do it. It's on you.
It's always you.
It's on you. So any young man out there watching this, I think sales is really, if you're lost in life, get a sales job. It'll teach you to be more personable. It'll make you more money in the long run, and you'll just become a man, in my opinion. Like we genuinely, like Appio knows, what do we do with these kids around here?
Oh man, we grow these kids.
We grow them up.
We mold them
Sounds
into
We grow them up.
into so much better people. I mean,
Yeah.
especially a lot of the guys that we've had, you know, come in first starting. up,
Imagine
we've molded
Liam would have
them.
went to college and how much like growth he wouldn't have had if he would have went to a 4. He still would have been. He would have came here at 22 years old and been immature, not ready to do a job like this. He's 18 years old and he's killing it. I mean,
Making more than
he's
his
competing
entire
with
class.
25-year-olds, 26-year-olds in the office, right? Because he has that grit, he has that will, and
Yeah.
he's not like a little I don't know, like you know.
I
I can't wait to see where
Yeah.
Gio goes.
Shout
So
out
we were
to
going to
Gio.
shout
Gio's
him
gonna
out.
be
Can't
really
wait to
good
see where
too.
Gio goes.
Gio's gonna be really good too.
Went to the gym with him the other day. This guy, Jesus Christ!
Oh my God, for a kid, he's
the
jacked out.
the freaking chest on this kid is insane.
Yeah.
We did chest the other day. I was in the gym. He walks in. We start working out together. The freaking chest on this
You know
guy
what's
is
funny
wild.
about this story? I wasn't there, but
How old is Gio?
Like
19,
20, 19.
19, 20?
The funny part about that story is Gio's a good-looking kid, so like apparently he was supposed to work out with some
Crazy.
girl or something like
Yeah.
that. And then he sees Appio walk. He was supposed to work out with this girl. He sees Appio walking. He dubs the girl, forgets about the girl, and then works out with Appio.
And then we did the
Yo,
500s. We
like,
did the
what
100.
are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. Dude, the 500s is a rough
500
workout.
Friday?
They did 500
Oh,
Friday.
wow.
Friday.
That's a
Friday.
man workout
It is a
together.
man's
That's a
workout.
man's
For those who
workout.
don't know, it's 100 reps, flat bench, incline dumbbell, decline, flies, and then tricep pushdowns. 5 sets of 20. It'll.
Good luck
boost you.
eating your dinner and picking
Yeah,
up your
no,
fork.
you're not going to be able
man.
to
It
move.
is
This
rough.
guy was hurting 3 days after. He's like, my legs were hurting. I didn't even work those out.
Seriously.
Yeah. Wow.
One more thing I did want to touch on that I love that you talked about, which you also preach a lot, and it simply just makes sense, is working the extra hours to grow faster than the people that you're competing
Yeah.
against. You know, every single morning after we sing the national anthem and freak out, one of the first things that Frankie always says is about compounding time is just like compounding interest.
Yes.
I
I
know,
agree.
so and so at whatever company, if he's working 3 hours more than you, he's getting 3 hours better than you. And you know, when it comes to younger companies, if you're a startup or you know your first 2 year times in business, you got to put in double the amount of time to catch up in a shorter amount of time. You know, the more time you put in, the quicker you catch up.
Frankie, what time you leave the office last night?
1 a.m.
1 a.m.
1
And I'm
a.m.
sure
Dog.
Buddy in the
17 hours a
company left
day.
at 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, every other CEO is putting in 40, 50. I'm putting in 80, 90, but it's what I have to do. I'm 25 years old. They're like around 50, so I got to put in double the amount of work to catch up to them mentally, physically, money-wise, you know, net worth-wise. And, I mean, it's really true. I mean, compounding interest and time, I mean, it just goes to show. And it's not that first week where you're going to see the results. And don't expect it the first week. Don't expect it the first month. Don't expect it even necessarily the first year, right? And sometimes you'll put in that, not sometimes, you'll put in the work for 5 years, right? Day in, day out grind. And then eventually you're going to wake up and you're going to look like an overnight success, which I'm sure was maybe even like what your company was. I'm sure one day you woke up and you were just like, wow, Fragoletti Builders is really doing what I envisioned and dreamed. And it kind of all just, I mean, I put in the years of work, but it's kind of just all, I almost feel like an overnight success because of that compounding interest.
Yeah, it is true. You know, I was talking to an old timer when I was about 19, 20 years old, and I used to pick people's brains. I used to see what they did. If they looked successful, I asked them what they did for a living, you know.
Yeah.
And this one guy says to me, Junior, when you put your 100 hours a week in, then you'll be somebody. 100 hours a week. So I was like, wow, that's a lot.
17 a day.
That's a lot of hours,
Yeah.
you know, a day. And I started doing it. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to do 100 hours, but, you know, that's the mentality you have to have. One, if you're going to be a business owner and you want to grow and you want to succeed, you know, and you want to be an example for the people around you, you got to do it.
Absolutely.
And Appio tells me that you're a beast, and this is what you do.
Yeah.
He tells me behind the
Yeah.
scenes. He tells me this. He says, Dad, there's no one like him. He really is. He's a genius. I trust him to no end, and the guy works harder than anybody, you know. And that's how you have to be. And I'm so happy to hear that. I really am.
Yeah.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Something you said earlier too is I just love competition. I mean, I just love competing against the next guy. And it's just what motivates me a lot too is that a lot of people in our space are a lot older than me too, and they know that I'm catching up to them and I'm creeping up to them, and it's just such a rewarding feeling being half the age and pretty much being right there. So I'm just such a competitive guy, and I just won't let anyone ever outwork me. I won't let anyone ever beat me, and I just want to be successful more than I would even want to breathe. And I'll put in. If there was 200 hours in a week, I would do it. You know, I would really do it. I don't care. And the boys know, and I will go tooth and nail, fight tooth and nail for them, for this company, and I will never, ever, ever by any means give up. And one thing about me, Tony, is that I've been open up and failing businesses since I was young. So I know what it's like to fail and to lose, and I don't care. Right, I still fail in front of my guys, my management team, and even openers, people who just started the company. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to look stupid in front of anybody because that's how you learn, that's how you grow, and it's how you set the tone, right? It's how you set the example. It's how you be a leader, and you have to show these guys that not just how special you are as the leader, but how special they are as individuals and people. Because sometimes people come in here and they don't know how special they genuinely are, and you have to just rip it the out of them, excuse my language, because it's in there and everyone has it. It's just whether someone cared enough to rip it out or if they just willed their way to do it. you know. And I think you're a guy who just willed his way. I'm a guy who willed his way. But there's some people where you kind of just had to just bring it out of them, and it's so beautiful when you see them to their full maximum potential and what they could really achieve. And I tell the guys all the time, I mean, human beings are so freaking special. The things that we could pull off. I mean, we could go to the freaking moon, right? So never believe that you can't do anything. Never let anyone put down your hopes and dreams. And you could genuinely do anything in this world. I mean, you could start with $1 and you can end up the richest man in this world. And that's what's so beautiful about this country as well. God bless the USA.
God bless the
Bless
USA.
the USA.
And you have a great environment here.
Well, we
I like-
pride
I like-
ourselves
I like
on
the
that.
environment you guys have.
Appreciate
because
that.
You seem to lift each other.
Yes.
That's what it seems like. to me,
Yes. It's
you
a
know?
brotherhood.
Listen, everyone's got a down day, right?
Yeah.
No one's perfect.
No.
Everyone's got a bad day, and there's the next guy that's going to pick you up. And you're going to pick him up, and he's going to pick you up. And you guys have fun together. You do things outside of the office together.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great bond. I love it. I love it. You don't see that a lot in business. You know, businesses, a lot of businesses, they grind, and they actually overwork everyone to the point where they're not productive.
Yeah.
You know, you're mixing it up.
Yeah,
Making
I
it
appreciate
fun,
that.
You know,
I appreciate
and
that.
you're bringing them together. It's
Yeah.
it's a really nice environment.
We pride ourselves on the environment.
We really
The
do.
last podcast, we went to the networking event, and I'm pretty sure every single one of us were there. And
Oh, yeah,
someone
listen to
asked
this,
me
listen
someone asked me if it was a requirement for our company to be here, and we're like, no, we just
Because every
just like
guy
hanging
just
out.
showed up
Yeah.
to
Like,
it.
we
Yeah,
just
just
do
an event.
everything.
Yeah, we just had fun, danced, had a good time. We
We
had a
can
great time.
guarantee
We're
if
the
we
ones-
call
worm.
anyone right now, they're hanging out with someone else from the company.
Yeah.
You know, we're all
Yeah.
friends like
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
And I guess that comes with just, also a large majority of us growing up together, which is so
Yeah.
funny watching Frankie. Since
That's the
sixth
coolest
grade
part
turn
about
into-
this company.
Turn into Frankie.
Yeah. That's the coolest part about this company, I think, is that everyone's just from our hometown where we don't poach people from other companies. I don't even want college graduates. I'm going as far as that. I want people who grew up in our town. We know them. We know their parents. We know their family. That
friends of friends.
Yeah, because we're gritty individuals, right? Middle country, us Selden, Center Each guys.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we're gritty
Some of you
individuals.
Mount Sinai guys.
We're gritty individuals.
See where I get it from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, definitely.
So
It's in the blood.
yeah. A lot of kids that go to college, their mommy, daddy's paid for. They might not have that grit that we do. You know what I mean? That New York grit. We have that. Long Islanders have that. There's something about us, and I think especially our town, just people who come from our town. We're a lower income town, right? I'm not gonna say we're poor or anything like that. We're very lucky. We're middle income, middle class, but definitely, I mean, you went to our school. We definitely, so.
Great time.
Saw a lot of stuff, met a lot of different diverse people, a lot of different diverse groups, and I think it really allowed us to be ready though for this stage in our lives because we've just dealt with so many different people. And in sales, I mean, you have to kind of just mirror your personality almost to the person that you're working with, because I mean, people want to work with two different types of people: an expert and someone they like.
Yeah.
So
And I think again, where we grew up was especially important too. It's because it's always quick, it's always sarcastic. You got to be sharp as a tack. You got to know what you're talking about. And if anyone is just talking to you some type of way, you got to be ready to talk right back.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect dynamic for sales. Someone says something, you automatically know exactly what has to be said.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I would have that kind of personality if I didn't grow up around a bunch of sarcastic, high energy Long Island Italian Irish people.
100%. you put a Long Island office up against any state, the Utahs,
it's
the Californias of
known.
the world, even the
They're not
Miami
real.
It's
offices.
known.
It's just a no.
You
it's
put a
no
New Yorker
competition.
anywhere, and we outwork your entire
Even-
frickin'
yeah,
office.
Imagine you brought your company anywhere else.
Look, you go down to Florida. If they hear you're from New York,
They want to hire you, right?
they hook you.
Yeah.
They want
right
you.
away, right
know?
away.
Which actually,
Excellent work.
one question I did want to ask you too, just because when you were talking about putting your ads in the penny savers,
Yeah.
after that, when you started gaining more traction, your company was what your company was. Were your leads to say more word of mouth, referrals, or did you really progress outward with advertisement?
Well, that's always the goal, right? Is to get referral business. That really is the goal. And how do you do that? By doing
Good
the
work.
right,
Doing a
by
great
doing
job.
the right thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Do right by people.
By doing the right thing. If you always do the right thing, you'll get rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line, you'll get rewarded.
Life
for it,
circles
you know?
back.
Yeah.
That's why
So-
we've been getting so many natural leads lately. I mean, past I don't know, 6 months, year. I don't know how many leads we've had to really purchase or go out and try and get, but they have been just coming into us, dropping into
So,
our lap.
I did that too, right? So they had these. You picked an area that you wanted to canvas,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd give you all the addresses, all the postmarked thing, and we'd mail them out. We'd do our own little flyers, and we'd mail them out. So that was one thing we did. I used to stuff mailbox with my own flyers. Just go
You
around.
gotta do what you gotta
you
do.
know, yeah.
That's like the construction
Yeah,
cold
we used
call
to
right
do
there.
that.
Yeah, we
with,
used to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. When we
Throw a
had the
rock in
detail
a
company,
bag
we
with
did
the,
same
with the
thing.
Yeah.
business
Same thing.
card.
You know, just you make
creative.
good time of your time. I used to pay little kids. Hey kid, do me a favor. See this whole neighborhood? I'll pay you whatever it was. I forget what it was. I'll give you $100. Just what?
Jeez.
Yeah, I would have done it.
Deal,
Right.
sure.
So I wasn't doing it now. I learned. You have to allocate. You can't do everything yourself.
You got to delegate.
So a great analogy would be, take a guy like me. When I could do just about everything in the trade: electric, plumbing, sheetrock, spackle, painting, framing, roofing, siding, windows, doors, flooring, deck. Right. So, if I did all of that myself on a job, how long would it take me to get a job done? Versus, one, having a crew of guys that could assist me in doing it, or two, subbing it out to specialized contractors. So I had a roofer that just did roofing, and I had a guy that just did concrete work, and I had a guy that just did siding. That allowed me to open up and get more business. So kind of like you guys, and that's why I suggest to like your fan base out there, you guys are the professionals. This is all you do. So yeah, you guys can go out and shop out your own stuff, but you're not going to get the same deal. You're not going to know which companies that really could help you better than another company, right? There's a lot of ins and outs that I don't know in your business.
No, it's
but
true.
But I
Yeah.
hear
And
from
the
Appio, he
relationships
tells
as
me,
well.
Yeah.
a certain business needs a certain lender. You have to go to a certain company to get a certain this and a certain that. So you guys know that. In my field, I figure it out. I need to stay with the special, and I can get more done that way.
To
That's
multiply
what
your
businesses
time.
need to do. Deal with companies like yours, Lexington Capital. Go to the professionals.
I mean, you always used to say growing up, you have to multiply your time.
Multiply your time.
You have to multiply your time.
Sure.
Hire guys.
It's volume.
Hire, hire two guys that can do 50% of what you can do. All right, now you got 100%.
That's right.
Now you got another you with two guys.
Yeah.
Even though it would take 10 guys to do what you do.
True.
But
I feel the same way too. But there comes a time
Hopping-
with your company where you could just gotta let go, and you gotta give faith, and
Yes.
you just gotta. I mean, I believe
You
in my
gotta
people
have
no matter
faith.
what, and I wouldn't have started this company if I didn't think that Appio could have been the best director of bank relations ever, and Tom could have been the best partner relationship manager ever, and Grizzly be the best chief operating officer ever. I genuinely believe that they could do that, and even if you don't as a business owner, you have to just train your mind to do it, and put the faith into them, because the company's never going to grow unless you do.
That is very important. And that's a hard thing that I had.
It's hard to let go.
That's a hard thing that
Because you think so highly of yourself. I mean, I think so highly of myself. I'm like, who's gonna get the job done the best?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you just teach, you mold, you show the right way, you show good habits,
that's right.
and they're gonna follow in your footsteps, and they're gonna solve the problems just as good as you, and you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
How special people really are.
True.
So.
and blindfolded tool check.
Dang, I was
Oh,
just
let's
gonna
do
say, what time
it!
is
Let's do it! Let's do
All
it!
right, so we're gonna
That's a
we're
wrong
gonna bring
tool,
the
wrong
mic
tool.
Back a little close to you.
Okay.
See it there? Feel it? All
Got it.
So what are you holding in your hand right now? What was that?
This was
What is this?
this was a mic.
That's up. That's a mic.
There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
First one down.
Now-
Last time I had a blindfold on, I was playing pin a tail and a donkey.
Now what is this? Put your hand out. Now what exact tool is this? Come on, use two hands. Feel it up. Open it. Close it. What is it?
Yeah, get it right.
Yeah. It's a
Get
wrench.
specific.
It's a wrench.
Kind of wrench. All right, that's a wrench.
Come on. Come on, it's tape.
What kind of tape? What kind of
Oh,
tape?
what kind of
Yeah,
tape?
there's
Oh,
another
hold on.
tape, so what
let me
kind of
see.
tape?
Ah,
Oh, you're
okay.
a professional.
Hold on, I gotta
Give it a rip. Give it a
I
rip.
gotta feel the thickness of it.
Rip, sniff, whatever you got to do. Taste.
Oh, that's painter's tape.
There
we
you
go.
go. There you go. There you go.
All right.
Needle nose pliers.
There you go. Talk about a jack of all trades here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby. Yep. That's a good old plumber's pipe wrench.
That's a good old plumber's pipe wrench.
Dirty one.
Yeah.
She is
It's
rusty.
a little dirty.
I don't know why that's
Wow.
on the table now, but
See if you can guess what kind it is.
Electrical tape.
We'll give you an
my
extra
man
point.
didn't
if you
even
guess
have to
the
peel it
color.
There
open.
you
I
go.
thought electrical tape
Didn't
was
even
black.
have to peel it open. All right, this one's gonna get a little interesting.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we didn't show him this
Come
one.
on, guys.
We
You're not
didn't-
even challenging me here.
Here we go.
This isn't really used in your trade too much, but it's a tool. I'll
Yeah.
give you a hint. I bought it so I can use it for my boat.
Yep. This is what you can open up like O-rings with. What do you
That is
call it?
correct.
There
I don't
you
know
go.
what you call it,
I
but
don't
it
know.
is.
There you
It
go.
is
Snap
used.
ring
O-ring
wrench?
The
opener.
O-ring opener.
O-ring opener.
The O-ring opener.
That
Trademark
is
that.
correct. All right, all right.
Got anything hard for me?
Brought to you by
Yes, I
Fragoletti
do.
Yeah.
Builders.
So this one's not just what is it? It's how long is it?
Oh,
Grizzly
how-
likes
how
asking that
long
question.
Is this tape measure?
Yeah.
Extend
Based
a
on the
foot.
size.
Based on the size, I'm gonna say it's got to be maybe 25 foot.
No.
I thought he was about to
Bro,
say
he
it.
was just
He
about
had
to
the
say
S.
it. He had the S. Yep.
Wait, hold on. See if you
Contractor.
can. See if you can.
Where do we get this?
I don't know.
That's from Steve's Halloween costume.
Remi's waving it to me. I'm like, all right, let me
All right,
get
what
it.
is
let
it?
me
Is it
get
a hard hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Appio, see if you can extend a foot.
Ooh,
Blindfolded.
extend a foot blind.
Okay.
Foot, yeah.
Show us a foot on the tape measure.
Oh, show you a foot on the
1
tape
foot.
measure. 1 foot. Oh shit! I'm gonna say. Hold on,
And then lock it once
hold
you
on,
got your
hold on,
spot.
Hold on. I'm gonna say like right there.
Wow.
Show the camera.
That's
No.
freaking
Are you
impressive. On the
kidding
nose.
me?
On the nose?
On the nose. Wow.
Is that a joke?
On the nose.
I'm not even moving
That's
that.
insane.
I'm
I've
not
never
even
seen anything
moving
like
that.
Wow.
All right,
We
now
all
what's
gotta
this?
do this afterwards. I want to see what I could do.
God.
What's that?
What the hell is it? A bottle of champagne.
Yes.
Hey.
Sir. And he likes to have
All right,
House
take
of
that
Soul.
blindfold off. Look at this.
Take the
Yeah,
blindfold.
you gotta,
You-
you gotta
you're
see how
good.
You're
perfect
not
you.
Sorry, he could do it. He's a grown man.
Oh wow!
On the
Right on the
frickin'
nose.
money.
All right. I guess I have some experience.
Got some experiences, right?
Pretty good at what you do. clearly.
I'd hire you.
Yeah,
You are a Long Island native,
If
and
your
you
house
need
is being
anything
foreclosed
done,
on,
Yes,
Yes.
man.
We'll help
Please.
you out. If you're selling short sale, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a rental,
We've put in a lot of business owners actually in contact with other business owners. So there was something specific where there was this lady.
shot.
What I don't know exactly what she did, but she
Was it the
needed
quarry
a
situation?
she needed a masonry guy,
Yeah,
and
for
we
like a
funded him.
driveway.
We funded a masonry guy. She was trying to get her driveway done, and we were working on getting her funded. And then he was from Arizona, and then he just connected them. He was like, she needed
That's
one, we funded a guy. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
that
that's
That is
even our
nice.
business allows us to get our customers business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that's really cool.
I agree.
So.
So, I mean,
Episode 5.
Episode
Episode
five.
5 was
Oh,
one
real
good
quick.
book.
I don't want to end it just yet. I wanted to bring up one last thing. And it's something that I feel like you said to me, growing up a couple of times. Being a business owner, you never really, I don't think you set a retirement plan when you were young, right? And so I feel like you told me, a while back that your retirement plan was rental properties. And I feel like that's a lot of business owners' retirement plans is rental properties. And I mean, do you think that's true for a lot of other business owners? I know specifically for you, being in the field that you're in, that it's a smart decision and it's a great route to go, and can't go wrong buying dirt.
Can't get hurt buying dirt.
Can't get
So, I'm on a job in East Islip. It could have been 20 years ago, and we're doing a second floor dormer. So we ripped the whole roof off. We're framing. So we're sitting there for lunch, and this old man is riding his bicycle, stops, and he's looking at all the work. He starts walking over. So I get up. I walk over to him. And he says, hey, you're doing a nice job here. I've been watching you. So, oh, thank you. He says, that's a nice bicycle you have there. You got a basket, right? You go, where you going? He goes-
That took a
he
second.
got an attachment on his
he
bike.
says, I'm just collecting my rent. I go, oh, you have a rental house? He goes, yeah, I got about 120 of them. And I just go around every month in my bicycle, and I collect all my rent checks.
It's like Chris's mom.
I
Just
said,
driving down the block.
I said, you have 120 rentals? He goes, yeah, I got 120 rentals.
Wow.
And he told me what the number was, and I was just blown away. I just never forgot that. That this old man is just enjoying a bike ride,
Yeah.
collecting
Could you imagine?
120 rent checks a month.
God.
It's a lot of bicycle time.
I mean, you
Like
know,
freaking on
and
the
I said to
block.
myself, wow, I mean,
Probably did.
that's an achievement, you know,
Yeah.
and that's something to thrive for, to strive
the
for, and that's
portfolio.
what I started doing. I just started, buying houses, flipping them, fixing them, renting them. The rents I kept, the good ones I kept, the ones I didn't like, I sold. But yeah, so that was kind of like my retirement fund. I did have mutual funds. I do have mutual funds. I dabbled in the stock market. Didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Lost 200,000
Wow.
because I didn't know what I was doing. You know, a typical example, you should have a professional in your corner, right?
Yeah.
I should have really had a stockbroker, and I was making good money, and then I started margining,
Ooh, that's where it'll get you.
and then the market crashed.
Wow.
And so that was when was that? That was 08,
Mhm.
06, 08, around there.
No, that's what the housing market was in 08, yeah.
When
Housing
was,
market
when was
crash.
when was the stock market crash?
I think also
It was-
08.
it
Also,
was
yeah.
around the
Black
same time, I
Monday,
think.
they
Black
called
Monday,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was sick for like many years. I was sick because I worked really hard for my money, and I was growing my family, and I had dreams, and that was a big blow. And I promised myself I would never do that again. If I was gonna get into stocks, I'd hire a professional for the stocks. But I said I'm gonna stick to real estate. I know real estate. I know construction. I'm gonna invest, and I'm gonna keep the rentals, and I'm gonna just fix and flips and stuff like that.
Yeah, it makes sense why you were so strict in late middle school, early high school now.
Yeah, it all comes back.
I would have yelled. I would have
Especially
yelled at
with those
Appio
kids.
too after the night of losing 200 grams. that's.
And I
the
grew up
wa-
with three
walking to the
sisters. Where
sun's,
else are you going?
Yeah, no, there's nowhere else to go. You're blaming on the sun.
Sorry, Dad.
All right, man.
But yeah.
Before we end, is there anything you want to advertise? Anything you want to plug? A
Plugins.
last, send off that you want to speak about?
Instagram page you want to tell us about?
Fragoletti Builders.
Fragoletti
Fragoletti
Builders, you
Builders.
heard it here first.
If you have land, we'll build for you.
If you have
If
land,
you-
we'll buy from you.
If you have land, we will buy from you. If you have a house, every house needs work. We'll work for you, whatever it is. We do from the ground up, and we treat each job like it's our own. And that's why we don't advertise. It's all word of mouth, 100% word of mouth.
Beautiful.
That's kind of business.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Well, guys, episode 5 in the books.
Episode
Thank
5.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Really appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. Appreciate having you.
You're over there. bud. Thank you.
Love you, Dad.
Sweet.
Love you.
home
Signing off, Lexington Capital. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Lexington Capital.
Where the skies are so blue.
Where we will fund you.
Sweet home Alabama. Lord, I'm coming home to you. Good night, guys. Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.